Today I fucked up by slapping my wife in the face with a huge dildo. Edited inside note about consent. My wife and I have been married almost 10 years. We have had a significant number of talks about what can fly in the bedroom. Stealthing anything in general is not something that should be done unless you have established ground rules which would allow it. In short, don't be an asshole and try this on a one-night stand or in any relationship that both parties do not feel comfortable that you each have each other's best interests in mind. So this just happened and I am laying on the bed still 4 hours later with a hard-on that feels what I can only assume the little blue pill is supposed to do. Except there is no pill and the cure is sleeping with the gates of Babylon locked up. This is really a combination of today I fucked ups that started about 3 weeks ago. I was getting ready to shower and noticed my wife had left out the type of measuring tape you use for sizing out clothing. Being that we are in a quarantine, lots of clothing has been purchased online. At this moment, I was naked. I had the great idea to measure my unit. I had never done this before, so I took my measurements after some warming up hand action and then entered everything to Google to see where I fit in the world of whiner competition. To my surprise, I found out that I am in the 70 to 75 percentile for length and girth. Well, holy shit, the last 15 years of my life I thought I was in the 40 to 50 percentile. I finish my shower, then with the vigor of Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man after Venom took him over, sit down next to my wife and inform her of the good news. She laughs and says, "Really? I thought it was average size for Americans." Side note, my wife is from Asia and up until dating me, had only dated Asians. Nope, I replied, "It's above average." This was the first FU. She then proceeded to call me Mr. Above Average every time we would have any kind of like initiation time or flirting. It then evolved into jokes about the need for an extra above average. Do you know where I can find any? After about a week, I have a light bulb moment. I should buy the biggest realistic sized penis dildo I can find. So I popped open eBay and found this bad boy. Dildo buyed now. Bam. Delivery en route. So I start scheming, how can I test to see if she can take this extra above average Goliath, and I decide I will go about our normal foreplay routine and I will stealth it in doggy style. Now for some perspective, my wife is Asian and very petite. She is 4 feet 9 inches, 100 pounds with a sizable chest. She is fun-sized. This thing has got around 20% more girth and several inches on me. Historically, I have hit the wall before. My expectations of this whole experiment is that she will try for a few seconds and realize the thing is too big and something is up. To flash forward to the day of the Mondo dildo's arrival. I have been building this up in my head and secretly in my wife's head. Like, you sure you want the extra? I don't know you will be able to take it. I'm so stoked for the moment I can tell my wife, I guess you don't need this so-called extra. The damn thing arrives a day early and by some random divine intervention I happen to be the one downstairs when it got delivered. Normally, my wife would be downstairs at this time and open the random packages we get looking for her Amazon orders. I sneak upstairs, hide the box, wash off this doorstop of a dildo and hide it in a pillowcase on the bed. We get the kid in bed and start finishing up work for the night. I had already gone ahead and showered when I snuck upstairs so I can prepare the unleashing of the Mondo dong. My wife almost always wants to shower before we have sex so she can pass out after, but today, she initiated before the shower. My original cover-tops plan involved relocating Mondo in the comfort of her easy access. So I have to improvise. I start going down on her and have to finagle this damn thing out of the pillowcase and down by my legs so I can start baking the thing to body temperature like a chicken on an egg. After some weird adjustments and some slight awkwardness, I have prepared Mondo to the launching pad just as I am about to get her to orgasm. The moment is here. I am stoked. I pulled off all kinds of multitasking exceedingly well. I flip her into doggy, bring up the Mondo and begin going in. First nothing, we are going like normal. Then it continues for another 2 minutes or so and she finally turns around and says, "Put both your hands on my hips." This is a normal movement and I think what tipped her off that something was weird despite the Mondo dick at least 7 inches in. Well hell, that sure isn't possible. I've got to hold this thing in place. I thrust, but in order to reset I have to hold it. She turns around and then moves forward and notices the extra dick in the bed. Ow, At this point she has that WTH face going. So I say, well, I wanted to see if you could handle the extra above average. She busts out laughing and says, I thought you were just doing something weird with your fingers. I guess I can handle the extra. At this point, we finish up and I am having one of those holy crap, I can't believe I doubted the power of the vagina moments, and then proceed to have some real serious contemplation about where my wiener really fits on that chart. So after a day of dick confidence sitting real low, I decide I am just going to incorporate this thing into some bed adventures, and at the end of the day I am the one getting her off, so no confidence hit needed. However, Friday was brutal for work, brutal for at-home daycare of working parents, and general overall hyper child without enough attention stepping on every nerve we both have. My wife has gotten a pretty bad headache, and this was exaggerated by her trying to kiss our daughter on the head and her jumping in excitement and clonking straight into her jaw, causing one of those lower jaw slammed onto upper jaw after gaining momentum. So she is basically down for the count. After me lightly trying to initiate frisky time, she says her head hurts and she just wants to lay down. So we are laying down and I am doing all the things I can do to try and make her headache better. After about an hour I guess all my back scratches and head rubs paid off because she had found the mood to go. I convince her to give Mondo another try and I bring that bad boy in during some tongue work. I tell you what, I scored a 100 out of 100 on this foreplay session. She is DTFAF. So I decide to bring in some of my favorite outfits for her. Get her in it, and now I am DTFAF. We start going at it. Now here is where the ultimate FU happens. We had been playing this couples game a couple months ago, and basically you draw cards and answer really intimate couple questions. We pulled the card with the Korean what is a sexual fantasy you want to try but haven't. After some coercion, she finally admits she wants to have a MFM threesome. So here is my big brain moment. Mondo has a badass suction cup. It said so in the description. I take that bad boy and slap it to the wall and tell her to suck on it. She is into it. The problem is Mondo is a long bastard, so where I put it on the wall after it sways downward is at an awkward position. So I decided, let me just scoot this thing an inch or two up and everything will align perfectly. Well, as I said, this thing has a badass suction cup. My subtle amount of torque is not moving this thing. I increase to medium power and it will not move, so I decide it is time to throw on the ultimate power to get it in the perfect position. Unfortunately, slightly above medium power was all it needed. I slammed the Mondo dick with all my might right into my wife's mouth. I am fairly certain Babe Ruth's ghost was briefly revived as I heard the clack of multi-layered silicone phallus make contact. Wife's mood dead, my boner still powered by Tony Stark's arc reactor. Head to the bathroom to assess the damage. Extra level of headache, check. Bleeding gum line, check. Cracked lip, check. My dick still harder than a rock, check. She gargles mouthwash, puts on her pajamas and proceeds to pass out on the bed. I am guessing TMR morning she will have a fat lip to boot. Before she passed out, she told me feel free to masturbate. I did, and finally after 5 hours, the boner is just now starting to show signs of powering down. Too long didn't read. I measured my penis, found out it is above average. Inform my wife of my findings. She then begins to tease me about being Mr. Above Average and that she might need an extra above average. My wife is a super small Asian. I call bullshit and buy a Mondo dildo to prove it. I sneak it in like a ninja and find out vaginas should not be underestimated. Confidence takes a dive. I decide the following day I will just incorporate it into our sex journey. Gave my wife a super orgasm, then decide to fulfill her fantasy of a threesome, slap the Mondo to the wall using the super suction cup. Underestimated the bend of the Mondo. I readjust it with the strength of Hercules and Babe Ruthed her face with a phallic bat. She sleeps. My raging titan of a boner is still insatiable. WTF man? PMSL here. And also slight aroused. Don't judge me. Just gonna check out that eBay link. For future reference, to break suction on a suction cup, put your fingernail under the lip of the suction cup and pull up slightly. This is more obvious when your dick brain is not in charge. I guess she couldn't handle the extra after all. I'm seriously impressed with y'all's sex life. Good-humored, open to each other's wants, giving, and communicative. As a veteran kinkster who is sadly used to reading stories on Reddit of people who do not have all those things, well done. I just read that whole thing and I still can't get over the fact that you called him Tony Maguire. But hey, good on you and your wife for having a healthy sex life with kids. Today I fucked up by having sex in the dark. This fuck up happened last night, after I was graciously invited to go to someone's apartment for a hookup/sleepover. To make things less confusing, I should mention that I am a man who has sex with men. There are multiple reasons I dislike sex on dark mode, such as that I like to see things to stay turned on, and because anal sex always has its risks. I have had experiences where literal shit happened, without either participant knowing until it's too late. The most PG rated, but also the most important, reason that I prefer lighted sex is that I am hard of hearing. My hearing loss often means that I need to rely on lip reading in environments that have a lot of background noise, insufficient lighting, or both. Sex in pitch black darkness falls into the category of insufficient lighting. Back to the hookup. I have been talking to this person for less than a day, so when I get invited over and he turns the lights off, I don't really complain. My upbringing taught me better than to come into someone's house as a guest and immediately disrupt their way of doing things. It is dark, but there isn't a whole lot of conversation happening, so I am unbothered. Things start getting hot and heavy, and we both seem to be enjoying ourselves. Then, it happens. He suddenly sits straight up in bed, and asks, "Can you shit all over my face?" I am extremely confused. The only thing we had discussed online was a mutual appreciation of cuddling. This kind of kink is leaps and bounds away from that, and I am not that kinky. In disbelief, I seek clarification. "You want me to shit all over your face?" Everything stops, and I am certain that the world has stopped spinning. The silence probably lasted less than 4 seconds, but in that brief period of silence, I suddenly understand the concept of eternity. I try to look at his face, but there is no light with to see it. I look at where I assume his face to be, but can perceive only the massive weight of unbearable silence. Finally, he breaks the silence with actual, human words. "No," he says. "Can you shoot all over my face?" Shoot. Instantly, I am overcome with an unsavory combination of relief and embarrassment. I am relieved that I am no longer expected to try something I had never planned on trying, but am absolutely mortified that this miscommunication has happened. Quickly explain the situation. "I am so sorry, I'm hard of hearing and have trouble when I can't lip read." Express my relief, but I am very glad we are now on the same page. And tell him that, yes, I can absolutely make that happen. Trying to navigate the immense obstacle to sexual pleasure that my hearing loss has just created, we both eventually get close. I indulge his request for where I ejaculate, and make sure he gets off afterward. We sleep comfortably in the same bed, although my side of the mattress seems to be padded with an extra layer of embarrassment, which I am still unable to shake off. I am certain a bed of nails would have been more comfortable. I don't like sex in the dark. Too long didn't read, I can't lip read in pitch black darkness, and as a result, thought a hookup participant was way kinkier than they turned out to be. Awkwardness overflowed. At least you didn't lay the bricks down in those 4 seconds. Can you imagine? He just carried on, like wow, weird but okay, I won't kink shame. That burrito I had earlier wants to come out anyway. Just squats over dude's face and let rip. Jesus. I think that would definitely be a today I fucked up. Smiley face. This was excellent. I hope you can laugh about this. Can I see this being a Reddit story down the line about how a couple dating for years first met? I wish my hookups were this hilarious. I'm surprised you guys could finish. I would have been lame and unable to continue. Somehow I think he actually said shit and then backed out of it when he saw your reaction. Quick thinking and a night saved. Haha. Winking face. How did you shoot accurately toe? I was about to say echolocation, but given my hearing loss, that would be a pretty weak claim. Today I fucked up by being naked in my boyfriend's room and his little brother walked in. This just happened a few hours, so I'm still a bit mortified, but I was making out with my boyfriend and I took off my clothes. Only his mum was home at the time and we had just spent the entire day at the arcade. His dad and brother arrived home while we were kissing, and so his dad called for him to come downstairs and help unpack the car. He quickly got dressed, so I just waited patiently lying on his bed assuming we would continue continue after he came back. He was taking a little while and I heard his brother come up the stairs. I quickly got up and closed the door and ran to the end of the bed. His little brother ran up the stairs wanting to talk to me about a prize I had just won from the arcade, as I won this big car and he had the exact same one but smaller. I was crawled up at the end of the bed with no shirt on at all. It was super awkward. He just stood at the door for what seemed like forever and closed it. My boyfriend came up the stairs and opened the door and was like busted. Of course he had no idea what had just happened and was just referring to the fact that the door was closed and I was sitting at the end of the bed. I had put clothes on at this point. I explained to him what had happened, so he went to talk to his brother. After what seemed like forever he came back and said it was fine. But 10 minutes later his brother called him again and they talked some more. He brings his brother back into the room to come and talk to me and he tells me he didn't see anything and said it was all okay. His little brother kept on randomly walking into the room every few minutes for 30 minutes too, after that, just making sure we weren't doing anything. I literally am so uncomfortable and I can't imagine how the little brother is feeling. I just feel super uncomfortable and just like Also, to make matters worse, I have an amazing relationship with both his parents, so I'm so scared that if the little brother tells them I was lying naked in my boyfriend's room, they are going to hate me and never let me see him again. P.S. We have been together for over a year. My parents know we are sexually active, but we don't think his parents know yet. Too long didn't read. My boyfriend's little brother walked in and saw me naked while the boyfriend was downstairs and I'm super scared I have ruined my relationship with his parents and I feel super uncomfortable about the entire situation. Congrats op, you've given your BF's little brother his first hard-on. Seriously, when he is old enough he will remember this incident with a grin for the rest of his life. Speaking of which, Kim, thank you and your poorly fitting and water-shifted bikini bottom. Your pubes shall live forever in my mind's eye. I remember that more than I remember when we hooked up a few years later. Wait, what are we talking about here again? He's walking in every 2 minutes hoping to catch another glance. He doesn't even know why, but he knows he wants to see boobs again. His parents most likely know you guys are active as well. Don't worry about this. The more confident you feel about it, the less it's even an issue. Just blow it off and don't act different around anyone. This is a minor incident and you'll feel better if it's not made out to be a bigger one. Funny, you guys are so young, you really think his parents have no idea you're in their home naked having sex on a regular basis? Yeah, unless the walls are soundproof and the parents are incredibly dense, there is no way they don't realize.